want to work and live in a van in Switzerland, this is what you need to know. Today we're gonna talk about working in Switzerland in general, how to find spots, if it's legal or not, the address, and my tips to you. Before we start, hi, my name is Adelina. I live in a van with my husband Philip and our dog Ellie. We just came back from our Europe trip and now are both working full time towards a big next project. A little disclaimer beforehand, we both do have a Swiss passport, so for us the situation is a bit different than it might be for you. Okay, enough about me, let's get started. How can one legally work in Switzerland? This is a big question. Let me start with the easier part. Like in every other country, you need to find a job. Swiss people love it. If you just call the company you're interested in, you just write them an email, just show interest and show them that you're willing to work. Something that might be an advantage for you guys is the seasonal work. It is pretty common in Switzerland to work at the ski resorts. You get great money and they also sometimes give you accommodation for free and also food. So I will definitely check that out. The reason why I'm mentioning this is that short-term employment can be easier achieved, especially if you are a citizen of the EU, because you won't require a residence permit. And by short term, I mean everything up to 3 months or 90 days per calendar year. For more information regarding your country, please check the website in the description box because the rules do differ depending where you're from. If you plan to work longer than 3 months, you must apply for a residence permit in the Swiss commune before starting work. I am aware that we are talking about van life here, so let me catch up on that subject a little bit later. Overall, if you want to work in Switzerland for a longer period of time, you need to have a working contract, residence permit, bank account, health insurance, and of course, you need to pay taxes. After 1 year, you need to apply for a Swiss driver's license, which means your motorhome will need a Swiss license plate. Do you need to pay taxes? Well, for short-term employment, as much as I understood, you don't need to pay taxes since you don't require a residence permit. That means you won't be considered as a tax resident in Switzerland. For long-term employment, the answer is simply yes. Yes, you need to pay taxes. Do your research before applying for residence. The amount of taxes differs from canton to canton and also from commune to commune. Switzerland has 26 different areas which we call cantons, which is something similar to a state in the US. This is important for us full-time van lifers because in the matter of wild camping or spending a night at a parking lot, each canton has its own rules. But that is not all. Those 26 cantons are divided by multiple municipalities or communes. They make up their own rules. The 4 official languages are French, German, Romansh, and Italiano. This is why you shouldn't view Switzerland as a country, but more as a bunch of different families living in one small village. Overall, it is not forbidden or written as a law to live in a van. I repeat, it is not forbidden to live in a van. However, it's a different subject to sleep in a van. I know that is confusing, it is also confusing to me, but that is how the things are for us van lifers. That makes it also really difficult for us because every canton has its own rules and every commune has its own rules. Keep that in mind when you travel to Switzerland or want to do full-time van life like we are doing. I want to emphasize one minor little thing, that it is forbidden in some cantons to sleep in your vehicle. Let's talk about wild camping. First, let me make sure that we are talking about the same. Am I in focus? That we are talking about the same here. So wild camping just simply means spending a night in nature, in your van, in your RV, in your tent, outside the camping sites. There is a law called everyone's right or the freedom to roam, meaning the right to access public or private land, rivers, lakes, and so on. Just be careful. There are still rules you need to follow. When the wild animals are protected, you're not allowed to sleep there. If you want to do wild camping and be completely sure that you're doing it the legal way, you're allowed to call the police or the local commune we're gonna stay at and ask them if it's okay to spend a night or two. At the public places like parking lots are the municipalities or the owner the rule giver. Be aware of signs that tell you how long you're allowed to stay or if you need to pay a fee that you can park there. Overall, I will suggest reading the signs and be discreet. If you find someone who is looking at you a funny way, just say hello. Be your charming self and respect the rules. That way the chance is much higher that they won't call the police. Again, this is really different from canton to canton, and be mindful about your trash. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and watch this video right here to understand the difficulty of getting rid of your trash. For some of you that might sound weird or foreign, and this is my own experience. And I'm not saying that about all Swiss people. I'm only saying that about some Swiss people. I feel like some Swiss people are pretty distant towards strangers and foreigners, especially someone who is living in a vehicle. They need more time to open up, especially in the German part of Switzerland. I feel like in the French and Italian parts are a little bit easier. I can't tell you guys how many times I already got this Karen look when I was getting out of the camper with our dog Ellie and the heater was still running. And every time I was greeting her, she was just looking at me and ignoring me. But you know what? I'm not gonna give up, and maybe 10 is our lucky number. I feel like in general people outside the cities are more prone to find it weird or be scared of someone who is living in a vehicle. I totally get that. Why will you live in a metal box? Congratulations! That means you have found work and now need an address for the administrative formality. The reason for that is simply that the commune wants to contact you the old-fashioned way with a letter, and they need an address that they know they can reach you there. Here are the possibilities I know of someone who doesn't have a fixed place can use as an address. Ask your employer if it's okay that you're gonna give the address of the company to the commune. Have an official residence with friends or family. That is how we are doing it. You can also tell the municipality that you want to get the paperwork directly to them. You can also get a sublease agreement and have your writings shipped there, or rent a mailbox. I also found out that you can rent an address or you register to a digital mailbox, but check with your commune first if that counts as an administrative address. If you're living at a campsite, some campsites do offer the possibility to get your mail directly shipped to them. I have a fixed address there. Okay, so we talked about wild camping and sleeping at Ellie's in the background. Okay, so we talked about wild camping and sleeping at parking lots. If you want to stay for a longer period of time at a certain spot, here are my suggestions. Campsites will be probably the easiest way to work full time and just stay somewhere safe. The thing is that most campsites do close for the winter, so it's difficult to find one, and they're also quite expensive in my opinion. For example, in my research for Canton Bern, this is where we are living, you pay about 500 francs a month. This is how much you pay for a room in a shared flat. It really depends on what canton you are going to spend your time in, to live in, so there might be a cheaper option for you. While doing my research, I was surprised how many people suggested to just ask a farmer if he can stay at her or his land. You can pay a little bit for that, or sometimes they don't even care and you can stay for free. A little tip: go to Coop and Migros. Those are like the two biggest shop chains in Switzerland, and they usually have like those little white papers near the cashiers where they have the listings. Also check out the group Van Schweiz on Facebook. This is a great source for information where you also can ask a question, and people are amazing. They're gonna answer you back. Maybe I just have inspired you to live not in your van but at a shared flat. While in school, I was living at a shared flat and I loved the experience. I was paying 400 to 500 Swiss franc for my room, internet included. This could be a great solution for you. If you need to wash your clothes and don't want to spend a lot of money because Switzerland is expensive, you can always use the platform Couchsurfing. You can just ask them if you can wash your clothes. I've never done it since I am from Switzerland and I can always reach out to family and friends, but this might be a great way to save some money. I think nowadays, at least in Europe, we all know Farfronite. However, during the week, I don't like to use that tool. I like to have my own private list on Google Maps and just sleep near Philippe's work. The reason this list is private is because I want to be really extra cautious, and I would think people won't accept or tolerate us if there are like more campers staying at the places I found. So here is how I found those places. Two great things that you need to know. Since we have a dog, we are parking on the edge of the forest oftentimes. It is a great way to spend the night because nobody comes to the forest at night, at least in winter. I use Google satellite maps to find out what places are best. Also, shooting ranges have great possibilities to park overnight. In winter, most of them are closed and they're not gonna use them, so I think it's totally okay to park there. Again, just ask for permission if you see someone. Whew. Okay, this was a lot of information and I hope this was helpful for you. If you have more questions, you can leave them in the comments down below. And if you're wondering why am I in an apartment, it's because I'm cat sitting. Louis, my mom, is gone for 4 days and I normally do live full-time in a van for the better or worse. Okay, bye!